Hey guys, it's the intuitive investor from StockTwits. Wanted to do a 45-day review of IQ and give you a brief summary. I will promise to keep it brief as possible. I know that some of my other videos go over 10 minutes, so it's my intention to be able to get out whatever I need to say probably within the next 5 minutes, hopefully. So over the past 45 days, we've seen IQ do a number of things. It's blasted off, gone past the moon into Pluto. But in recent days, it's plummeted 20%, just under 21%. So it's about 20% that it's plummeted. So let's talk about that. So March 29th is when it IPO'd. And on that day, it closed at 15.55. Between then and a month later, it would end up right around the range of $18 in change, closing at 1803, and that would be for a 15.94 increase within a month's time, which is really not that bad, especially for a young stock like IQ. For those of you who know, it's backed by Baidu. It's got partnerships with Netflix and JD.com. So it's got a lot of confidence behind it. So that's probably one of the driving forces why the stock has blown up. So let's talk about that. So May 1st, after that, it would trigger its first sell-off. And over the next 4 days, it would close at $16.17, down from the 1803 that I spoke about. That's about a 10% drop. No one really noticed. And the reason why no one noticed is because a day later, IQ would embark on a massive 10-day visit to the moon and back, resting at 2183 for a whopping and massive 35% pop. Incredible, to say the least. It really took me by surprise, and I'm sure that it took a lot of investors by surprise. And that was May 14th. Right after that, it would trigger yet another sell-off. This sell-off really only lasted 4 days, May 18th, and impressively only gave back 8% of that 35% that it actually first gotten. So that again took me by surprise. When you go on a 35% pop, you figure you're probably going to get back at least 50% of that. So the fact that it only gave back 8% was just impressive. So May 22nd, we would see IQ embark on one of the most recent amazing bullish runs for 21 days consecutively. It would rip all the way to Pluto, as I said, past the moon. I mean, this thing was beyond solar system. And this would pop at 102%. I mean, that's just incredible. I've been trading since 2014, and I haven't really seen a lot of new IPOs do that. The only ones that really have impressed me in the past has been Shopify. Shopify went on a massive 5 to 6 month bullish run back in 2016, I believe, and in 2017. It's impressive. But the fact that this stock did it so early and so quickly, it was just impressive. And again, I think it has a lot to do with who's behind it. You got Baidu, whose ownership is, I've seen numbers as high as 80% or as low as 70%. It's got partnerships with Netflix and JD.com, all powerhouses. So anyhow, so from IPO at 1555 to then, it had grown 184%. I mean, it's incredible. And it's been only about 45 days that it's done that. So what happens? So June 21st, it triggers a massive sell-off. That day, the stock dropped 13.8%. Bears began to rejoice. Everybody on StockTwits was going crazy. Vince McMahon, everybody was going crazy. If you follow the posts, bears were coming out of the woodwork. I had never seen more bear remarks ever. And apparently all of them had called it. I don't think anybody called it, and no one knew. I'm sure that it was coming, but When and how much, no one really could predict. So it goes from 44.20 down to 38.83, and that created a lot of panic, I think, in bulls, especially young investors who been treated to 45 days of just giving. It's like that slot machine that just continues to pay and pay and pay. Um, and for the first time, we see a massive sell-off, and they're nervous, they're scared, they're afraid, um, and you shouldn't, you shouldn't really. So June 22nd, next day come around, and it drops yet another 6.5%. So now we're right around 20% drop between those 2 days. What's interesting to note is that day one, June 21st, it dropped 13.5. Second day, it only dropped a little bit over 6%. So does that does that mean that Monday, tomorrow, June 25th, it's expected to drop maybe something within the range of 2 to 3%? Possibly. I mean, if we look at with limited data that we have, we could see that maybe Monday there'll be another sell-off, maybe not as large as the previous days, which would be a good thing. It'd be a healthy thing too. So let's be rational. Here's where I get to kind of bring out the facts. The facts is the stock is brand new. It just IPO'd 45 days ago, more or less 45 days ago. It's a brand new stock. It just went down 20.3%. From IPO, the stock is still up 140%. Stocks go up and down. That's a fact. And you're in a new stock. It's a high growth stock, so you're going to have some volatility. And this is where you got to figure out what type of investor you are. If you're an investor that can weather that, then you'll be rewarded. But if you can't, then go with something safer. Maybe this is just not the stock for you. And that's okay. There's some people that can stomach it and some people that can't. And that's just, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So my advice to the bulls would be just to relax. Take it easy. It's a brand new stock. It's newly IPO'd. Stock is up 140% from day one. Maybe you can add as the dips keep coming. When the dips are going to end, no one can predict that. We can only look at data, the limited data that we have, and just make a educated guess. The way I make my decisions, I use a combination of intuition, Wall Street sentiment, and technicals. But with so limited information, I still don't fully understand the behavior of the stock. But that's okay, because bears are in the same place anyway, so no one's going to be able to predict everything with that level of accuracy. So my advice to the bears is congratulations, you can eat now. You guys are now relishing in that, which is great. And, bears make money, bulls make money, and pigs get slaughtered is what they say. So it's okay. The world is abundant. There's enough for everyone to go around. My advice to the bulls, bears is going to be difficult because my disposition is not bearish in any way. So my advice would be to the bears is just be careful, be conservative on your calls. The stock is so brand new. This notion that some of the posts that I've been seeing, you guys are crazy. I mean, you guys are talking about how it's going back to 0, it's going back to 15. I mean, take it easy, please. It's just incredible some of the exaggerations that I've seen. I think I don't think we're going to see 20 anymore unless we see some type of act of God or act from the administration that is just crazy. And at this point, anything can happen. But unless we see anything crazy, I don't ever see this stock getting back to the 20. That's a 2-0 range ever. I guess just remember also that their ER is coming up. And that's kind of something that I wanted to bring up in terms of my predictions for the month of July of what to expect. I know we have 1 week left in June. So really quickly, because I know that I went over my time. This week, what we're going to want to look at is just where the movement is going. If it begins to trade tightly within the dollar range, it's within that dollar range, 2 to 3% range, it's consolidating, and that's exactly what we want, because what we're going to experience is probably a tremendous liftoff right over again. What I wouldn't want to see is a consistent loss of over 5% on Monday, and then just a sustained loss. If that happens, then we want to be cautious about that. But we'd know by Monday, Tuesday, we'd know kind of a better idea of where we're going to go. And maybe I'll do a little follow-up video for Monday or whatever. Maybe I'll do it. So we'll see. Where the stock goes in July, I think what we're going to see is probably some additional volatility the week prior, the week of, and the week after it releases. There's no dates yet that I saw online, but if I were to use the previous earnings release dates, Baidu releases July 26th, and last time IQ released the day after. I'm assuming that it'll probably be right around July 27th when IQ releases their earnings report. And again, if they meet the expectations or if they exceed them, we're going to be popping bottles all over again. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you on Stock Twits. Don't forget to add me if you want. I'm Intuitive Investor. And if you have any questions or comments, both good and bad, you can post them on the site on YouTube. And feel free to follow me there as well. So see you guys.